Welcome to Time Traveling Team, the podcast where we review every episode of Doctor Who right from the very beginning. I'm Paddy.
And I'm Tricia. This week we follow the Doctor and Peri as they go to pay their respects to a friend of the Doctor, only to come face to face with an old enemy in Revelation of the Daleks. As usual, we're discussing the Doctor, companions and villains, and give your thoughts on the story as a whole.
And as always, we'd love to hear your thoughts on this story, so you can join in the discussion. You can check us out on our socials at Time Team, that's TIMETEAMP, or email us at timetravelingteam@teamproductions.com. But as is usual, I will get us through the story recap of this final story of this season.
Cool, thank you.
You're welcome. Part 1. The TARDIS lands in the snow-covered hills of the funerary world of Necros for the funeral of Professor Stegnos, a renowned agricultural scientist and an old friend of the Doctor's. Peri complains about the less than flattering blue clothing the Doctor has given her to wear, but he tells her it's the custom for women to wear that style. She dejectedly tosses the part-eaten bun into a nearby lake, but they are shocked when something under the water grabs it before causing an eruption. The Doctor suggested they move on, and as they do, they fail to notice a figure stalking after them. As they continue through a nearby wood, Peri marvels at the local fauna, and the Doctor mentions that one particular plant would be a very valuable food source if it was cultivated properly. They suddenly hear a branch snap nearby, and a badly burnt, frothing man appears and charges at them. The Doctor thinks to calm the man down by hypnotizing him, but the man attacks him and they wrestle each other to the ground. The man gets the upper hand until Peri knocks him out with a branch. The struggle is detected by the planetary sensors, and footage is beamed to a radio station where the eclectic DJ broadcasts it. The broadcast appears on a view screen in an underground chamber where the disembodied head of Davros watches it. He announces that his plan to lure the Doctor to the planet has worked and orders his Daleks to leave him be for the time being. The Doctor cradles the man as he wakes up and asks why he attacked him. He says that the attempted hypnosis triggered him, but he thanks them, saying that he's ready to die after being experimented on by someone he calls the Great Healer. He then dies before he can answer any other questions, and the Doctor tells a remorseful Peri that she had no choice and then leads her away. Meanwhile, in the chapel of the Tranquil Repose funeral home, Chief Director Jobel oversees his protege Takis as he puts the finishing touches on the corpse of a foreign dignitary. Jobel commends Takis on his work, saying that it is worthy of their prestigious reputation. Suddenly, Jobel's assistant Tassenbecker arrives to tell him that the mourners have arrived for the funeral, and Jobel leaves to organize the details. Takis and his colleague Lilt mock Tassenbecker for her unrequited infatuation with Jobel, but she angrily tells him to get back to work. Elsewhere in the chapel complex, an armed duo, Natasha and Grigory, kill a security guard as they make their way into the underground catacombs. Their attack is detected by the Daleks, and Davros orders Tassenbecker to instruct Takis and Lilt to capture them, saying that they are body snatchers. He then orders for Tassenbecker to be brought to him before being informed that a woman named Kara is waiting to speak to him via a monitor. She is called in to tell him that they can no longer give him the funding he needs for the service he is providing them. Davros tries to keep his temper in check as he sweet-talks him into trying further embezzlement to get him money he needs. However, he grows angry when she accidentally calls him by his real name as opposed to Great Healer, and he tells her to send the money. Meanwhile, Tassenbecker brings the body of the dead guard to Jobel, but he says that he is too busy to prepare for a funeral. She asks to be allowed to do it, and he reluctantly agrees before telling her to go see the Great Healer. Jobel complains with the fact that Davros is treating him as a messenger. Unbeknownst to him, Davros is monitoring him via security camera and says that he will die along with the Doctor. Elsewhere, Natasha and Grigory enter one of the lower catacombs. Natasha tells Grigory to hurry up and open her father's tomb so that she can see if it is actually him, due to not having been given a chance to see the body before burial. Her theory is proven true when they see someone else in the body bag. Suddenly Takis and a squad of guards appear and open fire, forcing the duo to flee. They continue on into the lower catacombs, where they hide as they see Daleks patrolling the corridors. They come across a secret room where they see severed brains in a tank of water with electrodes attached to them. Meanwhile, the Doctor and Peri continue towards the funeral home, but cannot find an entrance because of the boundary wall. Peri says that they should go back to the TARDIS, but the Doctor says that he can just climb over the wall. After much bickering, the Doctor manages to hoist Peri up before climbing up himself. In the secret room, Natasha says that she needs to send a message to her colleagues, but Grigory shows her a nearby Dalek frame with a severed human head in it, covered in tumours and growths. The head opens its eyes and calls out to Natasha, revealing itself to be her father, Professor Stegnos. He says that he and other people in suspended animation are being converted into Daleks. He begs her to kill him as he feels his new conditioning starting to take hold, and she reluctantly does so. They then flee the room, but they are captured by Takis and Lilt. Back in Kara's office, she meets a pair of men, Orsini, a legendary member of the Knights of Oberon, and his squire Bostock. Kara wants Orsini to kill Davros so that she can keep her money to continue to fund her food processing factories. Orsini readily agrees to the task, basking in the glory that it will bring him. Kara gives them a transmitter, telling them to activate it once they have Davros at their mercy, so she can mobilize her other agents to eliminate Davros' followers. Bostock voices concerns over the endeavour, and Orsini says that if they attempt to double-cross them, he will find them and kill them. In the holding cells in the lower catacombs, Natasha and Grigory are being interrogated for information by Lilt and Takis. Natasha says that they only came to get the body because a new law was passed making it impossible to retrieve it normally. Takis and Lilt reveal that the law was changed due to political power craving, as well as the sustainability shortages for such a vast population. Lilt continues to interrogate them after Takis leaves. Meanwhile, the Doctor and Peri approach the entrance to the funeral home. The Doctor reveals to Peri his suspicions surrounding Stegnos' funerary announcement, saying that he hated the idea of suspended animation. He then says that he is the reason why they landed so far away, as he didn't want to draw attention in case his suspicions proved true. Peri then draws his attention to a nearby funeral plinth, which is a carving of the Doctor's face on it. The Doctor begins to worry and explains to Peri that this means he will potentially die soon, having failed to regenerate. Peri says that someone must be playing a trick on him, but he says that it is unlikely due to the cost and seriousness of such a plinth on the funeral home grounds. Peri begins to worry that she may have also died alongside him and begins looking for her own plinth. Suddenly the plinth begins to fall, and Peri tells the Doctor to get out of the way before he is crushed. Part 2. Peri calls out for help as she goes to see if the Doctor is alright. Jobel appears and takes hold of her, telling her to calm down. He ignores her pleas to help the Doctor, saying that he is surely dead. He then turns his attention on her beauty and tries to impress her with his status as the director of the facility. Suddenly the Doctor's voice comes from beneath the blood-covered rubble, mocking his pretentiousness. He then moves the rubble off his body, explaining to a relieved Peri that the plinth and blood are practical effects, created by the person that is clearly trying to grab his attention. They leave Jobel and enter the funeral home and begin to look around. They are greeted by Tassenbecker, who asks how she can help, and the Doctor says he wants to ask about funeral preparations for himself. Tassenbecker explains that the suspended animation process, saying that those that are entombed will receive constant neurological updates given to them by the DJ, who is employed by the funeral home, and she shows them a video of him at work. Meanwhile, Orsini and Bostock arrive on Necros and make their way towards the funeral complex. Orsini says that this will be his last hunt before retirement, and Bostock urges caution, saying that he cannot rely on the weapons that he used whilst in the Order. Orsini says that he has nothing to worry about, but they are suddenly confronted by a Dalek. Orsini shoots it with his machine pistol, destroying it before he and Bostock continue on their journey. The attack is detected by the Dalek security systems, and Davros says that his suspicions about Kara have proven to be true. He calls Kara, pretending that he does not know who orchestrated the attack, and saying that he is worried for her safety. Despite her protests, he says that he has dispatched a squad of Daleks to act as guards for her until the assassins have been eliminated. He ends the communication, and Kara's secretary says that Davros is onto them. Kara says that Orsini will succeed, and that once Davros is gone, she will have complete control of the food supplies that he has been creating for her. Back in their funeral home main chamber, the Doctor asks who organised the plinth for him, but Tassenbecker says that she can't give out confidential information per the Great Healer's decree. She then says that she will take the Doctor to see the Great Healer, and Peri asks to meet the DJ, saying that he reminds her of the ones on Earth. They are interrupted by Jobel, who offers to take Peri, but she declines the offer. However, the Doctor takes her aside and tells her to go with him, saying that she will be safer with Jobel than with the Great Healer. Peri reluctantly agrees, and Jobel leads her away. Tassenbecker angrily leads the Doctor into another room where he is shocked to be confronted by Daleks. He tries to escape, but he is knocked out by Takis and is then dragged to the dungeons where Natasha and Grigory are being held. He slowly comes to, and the duo tell what they saw earlier with Stegnos' body. The Doctor says Davros is attempting to create a new Dalek race and begins to try and free himself. Elsewhere, Tassenbecker is brought to Davros, who commends her for her abilities and then asks why she still has feelings for Jobel despite his repeatedly humiliating her. She says that she doesn't know, and he orders her to keep an eye on him via the security system so she can see what he is really like. Meanwhile, Jobel brings Peri to the DJ, and she again rebuffs his advances before locking herself in the DJ's broom. The DJ bashfully greets her, and he reveals that he has developed his patter based on an old recording brought to the planet by his grandfather. Back in his office, Jobel is met by Takis and Lilt, who start to give their misgivings about their work since Davros took over. Jobel tells them to be careful, saying that Davros has spies everywhere, but he agrees to help them with any plan that they have to get rid of him. They tell him that help is on the way, but they quickly disperse when another of Jobel's attendants arrives. Unbeknownst to them, the entire exchange is monitored by Davros and Tassenbecker. Davros says that Jobel needs to be exterminated, but Tassenbecker begs for leniency for him. Davros says that if she wishes to serve him and be given the gift of immortality, then she must kill Jobel. In the dungeons, Orsini and Bostock make their way through the corridors, incapacitating any guards they come across. Orsini says that he is starting to believe that Kara has set them up and he wants to find answers. He then suggests that they should open the prison cells so that they can use their prisoners as distractions. They open one door and are ambushed by the Doctor, but Orsini easily beats him. Bostock goes to free the others, and the embarrassed Doctor reveals Orsini's status to them. Orsini says that they are free to go, but they must wait for him and Bostock to leave first and not follow them. He then gives the Doctor a gun before departing. Up in the main chapel, Tassenbecker confronts Jobel and warns him that Davros wants him dead. Jobel says that she is delusional and mocks her for her infatuation, saying that he would never be interested in her. This causes Tassenbecker to snap, and she stabs him in the heart, killing him. She flees down the corridor where she is killed by a pair of Daleks. Meanwhile, Peri is looking at the security cameras in the DJ booth and spots the Doctor, Natasha and Grigory running down a corridor. She communicates with them, and the Doctor says that he is fine, but tells her to get back to the TARDIS and contact the arriving dignitaries to inform them of the Dalek presence on the planet. Peri attempts to leave, but the DJ stops her, telling her that Davros will surely have intercepted their conversation and will have Daleks out looking for her. He says that they can use the transmitter in his studio and tells her to hurry as they can see Daleks approaching. Down the corridors, the Doctor says that he must confront Davros and instructs Natasha and Grigory to go and destroy the incubation pods for Davros' new Daleks. However, when they get there, they are confronted by one of the new specimens, which levitates into the air and kills them before exploding. Meanwhile, Orsini and Bostock have reached Davros' lair and, discovering him alone, launch their attack. They seemingly kill him, but Orsini says that it was too easy. He is proven correct when the real Davros, still in his wheelchair, appears and orders them to drop their weapons. They attempt to kill him, but they are stunned into unconsciousness by Davros and his guards. Davros then takes the transmitter from Orsini and presents it to Kara, who was earlier apprehended and brought to the lair. She denies all knowledge of it, but Davros gives it to the revived Orsini and tells him to activate it. Kara reveals it is actually a bomb and begins to lambast Orsini for having failed, but he quickly stabs her, killing her. Back in the DJ studio, Peri successfully warns off the dignitaries just before the Daleks arrive. They attempt to break in, but they are held at bay by a rudimentary sonic cannon built by the DJ. He manages to kill several before he himself is killed, and the remaining Daleks take Peri. The Doctor hears her captured through the open broadcast channel before he too is captured. He is brought to Davros' lair, where he is told that Peri is safe for the time being. Davros reveals that he survived their last encounter by getting into an escape pod before the ship blew up. He informs the Doctor that he has been acting as the great healer, working to cure diseases so he can create the strongest race of Daleks using the converted bodies of those in suspended animation. As he speaks, the Doctor notices as Orsini indicates the bomb transmitter, and the Doctor distracts Davros so Orsini can take it. The Doctor asks about the selection process for the bodies, knowing Davros' own genetic beliefs, and Davros reveals that those that he has deemed inferior were converted into the foodstuffs that Kara sold to prevent famine. Peri is then brought in, and the Doctor asks if she is okay. She says that she is, and Davros then says that he will activate the rest of the specimens. However, the revived Bostock shoots his hand off as he reaches for the control panel. Bostock is killed, and the Doctor tries to flee with Peri, but they are quickly stopped. However, the Doctor manages to surreptitiously kick Bostock's gun to Orsini. Meanwhile, Takis and Liz go to the main lobby to meet their new allies, another faction of Daleks. The new Daleks assault the lair, killing Davros' Daleks before capturing him. They inform him that he is to be brought to Scar for trial for his crimes against the Daleks. Takis expresses his relief that things will go back to normal, and Davros' Daleks will be destroyed. However, the Scarrow Daleks reveal that the new ones will be reconditioned to serve their leader, the Supreme Dalek. Davros tries to shift their attention to the Doctor, but the Scarrow Daleks do not recognize him. They say he and the others will be held prisoner until their identities can be confirmed. Davros is then taken away, and the Doctor says they need to hurry to destroy the new Daleks before they are reprogrammed. They manage to destroy the Dalek guarding them, and the Doctor says that the entire complex needs to be destroyed. Takas and Liz protest, saying that they will be out of work, but the Doctor says they can harvest the local fauna to replace the food Davros was supplying. Orsini says that he will use the transmitter bomb to destroy the complex, but says that he will need to activate it. The Doctor offers to create a timer for it, but Orsini refuses and instead asks him to inform the Order of his debt. The Doctor promises and then leave after the others, who he told to take Peri earlier. Orsini detonates the bomb and the complex begins to collapse, but the Doctor manages to escape in time with the others. Once they are safe, an exhausted Peri asks on a proper fun holiday, and the Doctor agrees. End of the story. So, another story summary down, which, as usual, means we now take a lovely little detour to the trivia spot. So, what have you got for us this week?
Cool. So the air date of this story is the 23rd to the 30th of March 1985. The credited writer is Eric Soward. This is Eric's third and final full script for the series. He did Earthshock and Resurrection of the Daleks as well. Though he did continue as script editor until the end of season 23. He considers this to be his best work. Pin that for later. The director of the story is Graham Harper. This is the second and final directing credit for the classic series for Graham. He previously directed The Chaos of Androzani. He would later return for the revival series, directing Rise of the Cybermen, The Age of Steel, Army of Ghosts and Doomsday, 42, Utopia, Last of the Time Lords, Time Crash, Partners in Crime, Planet of the Ood, The Unicorn and the Wasp, Turn Left, The Stolen Earth and Journey's End, The Waters of Mars. And for the Sarah Jane Adventures, Whatever Happened to Sarah Jane, The Temptation of Sarah Jane Smith, and Enemy of the Bane. So I think for me, and possibly for you as well, he pretty much made the revival of Doctor Who.
Pretty much. He's not there for any of Eccleston's run, from what I can see. And there are some really great stories in Eccleston, but definitely during I suppose a lot of people consider to be the golden era of that run, which is Tennant, he's there pretty much all over it.
Yeah. This is the last Doctor Who story to use the practice of shooting interior scenes on video and location filming on film. Something they've been in practice since the Reign of Terror. They've been doing it the whole time. And they weren't the only ones. A lot of British TV productions did it. But have been falling out of favour since the start of the 80s. Discounting the film that would come out in the 90s, it wasn't until Rose in 2005 that a film-like look was once again applied to Doctor Who. Although, in fact, the series is recorded on standard definition video and then, quote-unquote, filmized. So it's made to look like film, even though it isn't. The Doctor and Peri appear entirely on film in part 1 and have no interaction with the characters portrayed in the videotape segments, meaning they did not film any studio work for the entirety of part 1. All of their stuff was on location. This is the final televised serial to use Peter Howell's arrangement for the Doctor Who theme that had been introduced in 1980. This will get replaced going into season 23 with an arrangement by Dominic Lynn. Following the broadcast of this serial, the BBC decided to postpone the broadcast of the next season of Doctor Who. Although it's frequently referred to as an 18-month hiatus, the broadcast of the next episode of Doctor Who was actually only delayed by about 9 months. And it actually marked a return to an autumn premiere, which had been the standard during most of Hartnell, Troughton, all the way up into Tom Baker. Although it returned to air at that time, it was still cancelled, quote unquote, after Revelation, in the sense that the original season 23 was scrapped. Its associates' costs were written off, and the season that became season 23 was mounted as part of the next financial year, as opposed to being an immediate replacement for the aborted season. So technically there was like a financial year where Doctor Who didn't exist. This story was supposed to end with the Doctor saying Blackpool as to where they were going to go when he was talking to Peri, but this was cut prior to transmission, which is why it ends on a freeze frame. This was to have led to the story The Nightmare Fair, which was cancelled due to the hiatus, though it was later adapted as a novel by Target Books, and then it was also done by Big Finish as well. That adventure would have seen the return of the Toymaker, who hadn't been seen at this point since 1966. We've been speaking in previous episodes about how we're talking about 2 big episodes, whereas in some countries there were 4 smaller episodes. So the first cliffhanger would have been when Natasha and Gregory were hiding in the catacombs, as Takis and Lilt were reeling a body through the tunnels. And the cliffhanger for part 3 would either have been the Doctor telling Peri that she's in great danger, or Davros ordering the Daleks to kill the DJ. It depends on what cut you're watching. I'm guessing for like ad breaks and stuff, it was different in different countries. We do see some ad-libbing from Colin in this story. He's done too little of ad-libbing, our Colin. This time it was the no arm in trying gag after Davros got his hand shot off. There were plans to show Daleks being blown into the sky, but that was abandoned because they couldn't get the equipment to the location. The whole idea of the blue morning suits for Necros was in order to cover Colin Baker's costume. Eric Sauer didn't like it, and he thought it was inappropriate for a drama series. This is why he had a blue cape.
Ooh.
Eric had some interesting inspiration. I'll talk more about his inspiration later on, but a couple of things just in relation to names and things like that is he went on a holiday to Rhodes and was influenced by his trip in many ways. So there were names that were derived from it.
Mm-hmm.
So Tassenbecker is from Saint Sambecker, to whom barren women prayed in the hope of conceiving a child. Kara was from a local potato. Fair enough. The planet Necros itself, as most people probably picked up, is from the Greek word nekros, meaning corpse. Or like it's where we get like necrosis and all that kind of stuff. Other names that were adapted from other sources is Mr. Jobel. And then Vogel and Bostock were suggested as well. While Arthur Stengos was taken from the cosmetician Amy Sorry, Amy, I'm going to butcher your name. Thanatogenos? Which ferry boat owner that Sarwood met in Rhodes told him that name.
Oh.
It's crazy. He went on holidays and just came back with a load of names. The idea of having a DJ came about when Eric was driving home from a dinner and he was listening to a really boring DJ on the radio. And it got him wondering how people in cryogenic suspension keep up to date with current events.
Fuck's sake.
And all I could ask is, Eric, what were you smoking at that dinner? Wet love. It snowed on location, as we see in the filmed segments. Graham Harper said had he known it was going to snow, he would have utilised it way more than he actually did. So I'm sure we'll get into it when we go into the character discussion, but at one point, Peri refers to the Doctor as Porky. Mm-hmm. Apparently, according to Eric Sauer, this is based on J&T's criticisms about Colin's weight.
Yeah, he ain't want to talk.
Yeah. So in terms, like I said, about those influences, so Eric confirmed that there's a novel called The Loved Ones, and that was his main inspiration for the story. Several of the characters came from there as well. The synthesis of food protein from those tranquil repose clients Davros considers Earthworthy of becoming Daleks, basically Soylent Green. But Sarwood said that he hadn't seen that films when he wrote it. We'll see. Orsini and Bostock were modelled after Don Quixote and Sancho Panza.
I can see it.
And according to the audio commentary, like I said, Kara was named after a potato that Eric had while he was on holidays. I don't get that bit, to be honest. Yeah. I'm like, a potato?
Also,
really?
I would say that whatever he was smoking to come up with that, like, oh, I wonder what they're thinking. It's clearly the same thing he was smoking when he said that this is his best work.
Yes, I'm sure we will discuss that in more detail. Let's talk about our cast. So, as the DJ, we have Alexei Sale. This is the only Doctor Who credit for Alexei. His non-Who credits include The Lenny Henry Show, The Comic Strip Presents, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and the one probably most people from Britain and Ireland of a certain age would know him from is The Young Ones.
The Blastock family.
Orsini is played by William Gaunt, only Doctor Who acting credit for William. His non-Who credits include The Champion, No Place Like Home, and then we've got a couple of dings on the old bingo card, The Avengers, The Saint, and Z-Cars. Bostock is played by John Ogwyn, only Doctor Who credit again. His non-Who credits include Z-Cars again, and The District Nurse, and for a long time he also narrated Thomas and Friends for the Welsh market, so for the airing of it in Wales, which is lovely. Cara is played by Eleanor Braun. She also was in City of Death as an art gallery visitor.
Oh, she's the one with...
But she wasn't credited.
She's the one with John Cleese.
She's the one with John Cleese. Yeah, and although John Cleese did later get credited, she didn't, for reasons. Her non-Who credits include Help, the original Alfie, and what I know her most from, to the point where she came on screen and I was like, bit to cut off the screen, is A Little Princess.
She is.
She is Miss Minchin, a total and utter bunt.
Absolute bunt. Also, she won't be the only person from that movie that will get a Doctor Who credit.
Very good. So, on to Jobel, or Jobel, or whatever the fuck his name is. We have Clive Swift. This is only classic era appearance. We will see him again in Voyage of the Damned. I don't know, some people might know him. He might look a bit familiar, again, if you're of a certain age. He's Richard Bucket, aka Richard Bouquet, from Keeping Up Appearances.
Yes.
Which I think is how you, me, and most of our friends would know him.
Absolutely.
Sandy Clay passed away in 2019. Tassin Becker is played by Jenny Thomason. Only Doctor Who credit. She's best known as Ruby in Upstairs Downstairs, and she was also in Crossroads and Emmerdale. She passed away in 2012. As Davros, we have Terry Malloy returning to the role. He previously played Davros in Revelation of the Daleks, and we will see him again in future iterations. Onto characters that we won't be discussing, but just to mention them because they were in a lot. I think there's not much for us to talk about. As Natasha, we have Bridget Lynch Bloss, or Blossy, I don't know, Blosse. Only appearance in Doctor Who. She did appear in the science fiction series Star Cops. But she kind of left acting after that. She only had about 4 credits on IMDb, and she went on to become a counsellor. Gregory is played by Stephen Flynn, again only Doctor Who acting credit, and his non-in credits include The Bill and Casualty, and he sadly passed away in the year 2000. Lastly, as Takis, we have Trevor Cooper, first of 2 appearances for him. We'll see him again in Robot of Sherwood. He's also done a phenomenal number of Big Fish audio dramas. I won't even pretend to count them. He too appeared in Star Cops. And he was also in Casualty, Father Brown, and Call the Midwife.
Cool. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, so we have done the story summary. Thank you very much, Paddy. We have done the trivia aspect. Thank you very much myself. And now it's on to our character discussion. So as per usual, we have the Doctor. We have companions. I'm going to go with just Peri this time around. Prominent characters. The DJ. Orsini and Bostock. Cara, I'm kind of between 2 things.
So, yeah, I put her in the end of the prominent character discussion because she's the leading villain to the villain section. The way that we've done it before previously.
Then we have the villains proper. Well, villains proper-ish. So we have Jobel and Tassenbecker. I don't keep getting her name wrong because I find it very hard to pronounce. And then we have Davros and his and also not his Daleks.
Yes. Yeah. So I did the socials, so I should go first.
Mhm.
Okay. So there was a trivia point there I was actually wondering if you'd bring up, and I was very curious because this was the first thing I said to you after you watched the story. And that was, I'd like to rewatch this again with a stopwatch to see how long out of the 90-ish minutes that this is in that the Doctor and Peri appear in it. Now, I read a wonderful book called Space Helmet for a Cow that has, and she's struggling not to laugh, that mentioned it. And apparently, Eric Saward tried to write, I know this is anecdotal, he tried to write as little about the Doctor as he could because he didn't like Colin being cast as the Doctor. So basically, this is him like swinging his dick around to show his disapproval of the Doctor, or Colin as the Doctor, by not having the Doctor appear really until like properly until the end of the very first 45 minutes. Which I think is like, fuck off.
Yeah, I would agree.
Anyway, back to the Doctor himself. Mixed bag. Classy of him to call Peri fat on a couple of occasions. But hey, at least she gives it back to him. You know, because like John Nathan Turner, oh, he's such a scamp. Fucking prick. This is. Do you notice the same trend that I do? That we get into characters, like we start to really like characters. And then it's like some sort of retroactive ghost kind of says, well, fuck that relationship, and really regresses the dynamics between the Doctor and the companion.
Yes.
Because here it's like, they did it in Time Lash as well, to an extent where it's like, why is he so mean to her at the start? And then he shows he's actually deep caring affection for her at the end. It's like, we've moved past that. Like we moved past it in, what was Art of Vengeance of Varos? Was it Two Doctors? Whichever one.
Yeah,
Is,
I think so.
yeah, like we've moved past that whole fucking thing. So stop writing this bickering shit. It's really actually annoying me. There's a couple of things about the story that really annoy me. So brace yourselves. So yeah, like I hate the fact that they keep having this like stupid bickering relationship because we've moved past it. But I do like to see how genuinely concerned he is for her, because when she's brought into Davros's lair at the end, like you know, he immediately wants her to get out of the complex. Like he doesn't want to bring her. Like, okay, he also says like that out of the unknown great healer and a potential sex pest, go with the sex pest because I know that you can probably beat the shit out of him. So like he's always kind of trying to push her out of danger to an extent. And then when she's in the danger with him, he is very caring of her, very protective, because like he tries to help her escape. He makes sure that she's gone while he's talking to Orsini to give her as much of a head start to get away from things. I really enjoyed his interaction with Davros. Like it felt like it was like Tom and Davros. It was like really two old foes interacting again. That's what I liked. And I think that was missing from Resurrection of the Daleks. I think I called it out as well. Like, so here it's actually good. It's engaging. It's very like John and Roger, Master Third Doctor dynamic, which is great. I completely approve of like the dick move of like the mock handshake, you know, when Davros only has one hand and it's blowing off and he's just like, oh, well, sorry. But I also think that this is a very empathetic performance from him as well. And we actually get to see that soft side of him that we haven't seen showcased a whole lot. I think it's in particular with the dying experimented on man at the very start, like kind of trying to soothe him as in his passing, and also trying to reassure Peri that was like, you did nothing wrong. Like, how are you to know type thing. So I really like that. And then at the end, like with Orsini, I like that. And like that whole section, I think, is one of the highlights of this story. But his interaction with Orsini is really good. So it just shows that, again, from what I see with a lot of discourse running Colin, it is a very surface level view of the character, that they just see that clip that's played from Twin Dilemma, or they see the Mary Whitehouse crank reel or whatever, and they don't actually get to see the genuine caring and the genuine soft, empathetic side that this doctor has. And again, for me, this just kind of shows that even in a run of potentially bad stories, Colin keeps turning out good performances and he keeps making the Doctor engaging. So I'm liking that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree on pretty much everything you said. I think the thing with the way Colin's Doctor is received, I disagree with it, but I also understand it because, like you said, particularly his dynamic with Peri gets reset pretty much in the opening 10 minutes of every episode.
Yeah.
Like calling her fat repeatedly was unnecessary. Not even, like, Peri's sort of clapback of essentially look in the mirror. But like just in general was unnecessary. The way he speaks to her in the opening scenes, I think, is unacceptable for where they are in their relationship now. And I think had Eric paid attention to the scripts he was editing, he would have had her clap back at the Doctor way earlier, because the Peri that we've seen and the dynamics that they've developed, she totally would have. You know? So I wasn't a big fan of that. I also wasn't a big fan of, like I said, he's not really in it that much.
No.
Which for me was a big negative on this story. But like you said, there is positive there as well. I think this story, similar to Marco Durrani in many ways, it really shows how Colin can be dramatic. And like I said, particularly in his confrontation with Davros. Like, the idea of, like, you're insane to turn humans into food, into Daleks is obscene. Like, this, the way he goes at him and the way that he's just, like, so completely appalled by the whole thing, I thought was done brilliantly. And that's all Colin. That's all in the delivery. That could come across really camp and really horrible if it was someone else saying it. But Colin delivered it really, really well. And, like, the whole idea of, like, the debate of, like, rational ethics and, like, cannibalistic capitalism and just this whole thing, I thought he did it really, really well. I agree with you on the fact that he does clearly care for Peri, even though he often treats her like crap. I wonder what they do between stories. Do you know? Like, what did them two get up to that, like, whenever they land somewhere, they're like, get the fuck away from me, you're fucking wrecking my head. And then they come back by the end, and then in the next episode they'll devolve out again. I agree with you. I liked his dynamic with Orsini. I thought that was done really well. I would have liked to have seen more of him with Natasha.
Yeah.
The Natasha character in general, I would have liked to have seen more of, but I would have liked to have seen more of that side of things. The other thing is, I really like his blue cape.
Yeah.
I think he looks really dapper in it. I quite like it. And if I was ever to do a sort of
cosplay,
gender swapping cosplay, I would need to have that in it. So I think ultimately for me, I think while this is a good performance by Colin, I think he's massively let down by lack of airtime and by, I don't know, someone just not feeling comfortable giving him a good relationship with Peri. And I don't know if it's that Jonathan Turner and Eric just had this weird fucking hang up about Colin as a person. That they thought, like, oh, well, he doesn't deserve to have the good, like, companion dynamic or something, because, like, Nicola and Colin get along really well. So, like, it bothers me that they don't play into that.
Yeah.
in the story. I'm getting kind of sick of it because like we've said it pretty much episode and episode. It was like, oh, like yeah, like they've come a long way from this. They've come a long way from this. But the first opening 2 or 3 minutes is usually, I thought they'd come a long way from this show.
And that was it. It was like the story of their relationship was told from Twin Dilemma to Attack of the Cybermen, Vengeance on Varos, and then you had, I can't remember which came first. Was it the Two Doctors or was it Mark of the Rani? But whichever, but basically from that point on, it's solidified. And like they have it. Now it's just fucking regressing. And as I said, it's like almost as if the stories were fucking swapped. Or like it's again potentially the shooting schedule or whatever, but it's like it's a whole mix up and you've regressed the characters and it just makes no sense.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's move on to Paddy.
Yes, to Peri. I can't remember the last time that a companion has been leched over so much in such a short space of time. Because
it's horrendous.
Because yes, we had Keys of Marinus, and then we had Reign of Terror for Barbara, and that's it. That's 2 stories in the 1 season, and then after that, she stops becoming the leched over thing, but she then becomes like, I think the only other one you could possibly say is the Crusade, and that's just because Saladin found her fascinating. But yeah. Anyway, fucking save it. But this story has made me realize something about Peri, and is that I think, and I've said it before, I've done her a complete disservice in my own head, and as a kind of a throwaway companion. Well, the later run of the show, which has universally kind of been panned. Her strength of character is amazing. Like everything that goes on prior to this, like with the stuff in Time Lash and going from like Planet of Fire to fucking Caves of Androsani, then all these other stories. But like she has such a great strength of character despite everything she goes through, like, because she, in this story alone, she has the trauma of having to kill someone or unintentionally killing someone to save the Doctor, watching the Doctor seemingly get crushed, to immediately having to fend off like a sex pest, and then watching the DJ die after getting to know him as he's protecting her. It's like a fucking fair amount for her to handle. And the other thing then I think was the other thing is like, yes, there's the repeated line of, and I keep having to say because I keep having to justify it, but like she said, but if you die, what happens to me? And as the story goes, as is most of these stories goes, when she tries to save him, it's not to follow up on that statement, what happens to me? It's, I need to keep him safe. Just because it's safety, for his safety first and her self-preservation second. That's the way that it always pans out. That's the way the relationship works. It just really bothers me that we have to go through the same cycle of, oh, fucking bickering. Oh, you're in danger. What happens to me? Actually, wait, no, we're great friends and we really care about each other. It's kind of old. And I think it does Peri a massive disservice because it paints her as this kind of whiny brat at the start, when she's actually a very strong person and someone that I'm glad that I like. This is another reason why I'm glad we do this podcast, to revisit this stuff with a bit of a more critical eye and really appreciate things that I like, especially for me, really appreciate things that I kind of fobbed off in the previous run. So yeah, I actually like Peri in this story, despite the fucking fat shaming and the lack of exposure in the very first episode. I think she's good in this story.
Yeah, I think Peri in this story, I think, unfortunately, she has regressed to being a mostly, not entirely, but a mostly passive bystander for a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, she gets sidelined by tertiary characters in a scene, which isn't good because she can hold her own. I really liked her moment of like complete and utter compassion when the mutant guy is dying in the snow, and the doctor's quite detached about it. He's sort of reserved and whatever, still respectful but reserved. But she gets quite emotional, and like I love the way like she says like he was frightened and he forgave me. Do you know, like the idea that like she killed this man for a completely valid reason, but to be told, hey, to be told by someone that you have killed, you did the right thing, it must be crushing.
Yeah.
Do you know? And I love the way that Nicola played that. I thought it was really good. She really is sort of the emotional anchor for the story throughout. Because while the Doctor gets indignant, he is still sort of Time Lord indignant in many ways. And the DJ obviously gets, he gets involved and stuff like that, but I don't think there's really like the sort of same sort of emotional, heartfelt connection to this situation. Whereas Peri, obviously, as the viewer surrogate, is doing her job very, very well. I agree with you on the whole, like, she's not just what happens to me. She's not self-centered. She's constantly trying to help and trying to save the Doctor and stuff like that. I think what can be taken out of context for Peri is you mentioned the line, "If you die, what happens to me?" Right? And I can see people ganging up on that in the same way, I'll be honest, that I gang up on Rose Tyler when she asks the 10th Doctor to change back into 9.
Yeah.
Out of context, it sounds so self-centered and so tone-deaf to the situation. However, if you think about it in the context of two people who've been traveling together for months at least at this point, and if you think about the friendship that, despite what the writers do, we know they have.
Yes.
It's very similar to, despite what the writers were doing, Jonathan Frakes and Marina always played it that, Riker and Troy were a thing, and Patrick and Gates always played the Captain and Beverly as if they had a thing. Colin and Nicola play it like they're friends. It's like, fuck you. But what was he even making?
The self-preservation line can be taken out of context very easily.
If you think about it, like if I didn't, or you and I were messaging the other day and I hadn't messaged you back for some reason. And then I think we mentioned something about, it was because I got a locker for you in work. And I was like, oh, you should get your own locker because what happens when I go on my holidays? Or if I win the lotto. And you were like, oh, well, hopefully you'd let me know if you won the lotto. Do you know? And they're sort of like, but what about me? Like, you win the lotto and what happens to me? It's a friendly, banterish statement meant to convey, I would be hurt, I would be momentarily or long-term less than without you present. It's not meant to be, well, you can't win the lotto. Okay, what the fuck am I meant to do? Like, that's not what it is. But that's clearly what it comes across as to some people who want to view it that way.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I think the words that Nicola is often given to say are taken out of context of how she says them. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
The other thing that I thought could have been better in this story, then I looked a bit online and some people were seeing it as like a pseudo romance. I don't think it was, but it is her dynamic with the DJ, because she's so excited to meet him. Like, so excited because she thinks he's from America or descendant of Americans, because his accent is as terrible as hers. But she's so excited, and they have such a really good dynamic, the two of them. And they get along really, really well. Now, I've seen people sort of hint that there was kind of a romance, that he like maybe had a crush on her or whatever. I don't know. I think in a story where you've got Jobel already perving on her, I think that's a bit unnecessary. But I really wish we'd gotten to see more of them together. Because I thought they made a very good duo, because they're sort of like the two people in the story that you wouldn't think would, be able to blow up Daleks, or that you wouldn't think would be able to turn the tide. And I like the fact that they were, but I would have liked to have seen them last a little bit longer, and like maybe like go walking through the corridors or something, sort of blowing up Daleks as they go, with like a weird sort of, American wannabe duo.
Yeah.
I kind of wish we got more of that. I thought it was a really fun thing. Like when the scene started, I was like, oh fuck, this is going to be so cringe. And it was in its own way. But it was also really fun. Like their scenes are really fun together, and I kind of wish we had more of them.
Yeah, no, I agree. Which I think is actually a good way to segue into the DJ. So, first of all, on the casting side of things, this was such an Alexi Sale performance. I fucking loved it. Because, like, when he's the DJ, he first appears as a weird hippie, then he's a rockabilly, then he's just then he's normal, then he's wearing a cowboy hat. And then, like, because he keeps affecting, like, various American accents. Like, there's, like, the California one, then there's, like, the fucking Tennessee type thing. And then when he beats Peri, it's just straight Liverpudlian. Just go, yeah. Which is fucking brilliant. It actually reminds me of a Young Ones thing where he's playing a character that's meant to be from like Eastern Europe, and then he just turns to the camera and he goes, like, I'm not really foreign, I just used pretend to be so I can seem more sophisticated. And he just goes on this big rant, which was great for the Young Ones. But actually, apparently Alexi Sale did a letter writing campaign as to why he himself should have been the Doctor. So but anyway, I also have a weird Mandela effect with this story, because I remember his death scene very differently in my head. In my head, he was dressed as the hippie DJ at a big kind of like fucking recording desk shooting them. So yeah, I don't know where the hell that came from. But anyway, I digress. I kind of feel sorry for the DJ, because he finally got his chance to fulfill like his dream of like meeting someone from Earth, where he listened to all his radio pattern, he developed his style, and he's met her in the worst possible circumstances. There's like fucking Daleks going around the place, and it's just like this big, massive conspiracy. But like, I agree. I really wanted to see more of them, and I don't see it in a romantic context. I think that he is like, he's so boyish, like a little boy around her, and it's because he's been so isolated in his fucking bush in his make-believe world, that when he finally sees someone else, and it just so happens to be an attractive woman, come in, he's like, oh god, I'm all shy and everything. But then when he finds out that she's from America, it's like, oh, you're the most fascinating thing, or fascinating person in the world. I don't care that you're a woman, or whatever the case is. So I think that little boyish action by him, like, I think people have made way too much out of that if they're insinuating like a romantic side of things. But I think that as it was going on, part of my brain is going like, what the fuck am I watching? But the other part is going, wait, it's Alexi Sale. So yeah, of course it's what the fuck am I watching? Because there's a brilliant bit there where he's reading a note from like someone's dear, like one person that's in cryogenic, and he's like, oh, your wife is raising funds to try and find a cure and all this type of stuff. And he just switched to his normal accent. He goes, yeah, they found a cure for that like ages ago. I was like, I wonder what she's actually been doing with that money. Just like very casually football breaking, which is very on par for him. Also, whenever I think of Alexi Sale acting like in something that isn't a comedy, I just immediately think of him actually in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade as like the king going Rolls Royce Phantom 2. But yes, Paddy's rant about Alexi Sale over.
Okay, we're going to my thing about it. Yeah. So, okay, I have a love-hate relationship with this character.
Yeah.
Right. I loved the character once we got Peri in the room.
Yes.
Before that, he was irritating as fuck, and I didn't understand the concept. And I'm like, oh, it's Alexi Sale. I was like, no, but he's in Doctor Who. He's not playing Alexi Sale in Doctor Who. He's playing a character in Doctor Who. And I was just like, okay, like, it's a bit much. I get what they're trying to do. He's doing music from different decades. So you've got like the 50s sort of greaser, you've got the sort of hippie and the whole thing. I was just like, it's just so jarring in comparison to everything else. And what I really wanted to see was why.
Mm-hmm.
Why is he there? Like, why is that his job? Because it's not just that he tells the guys, oh, hey, this is what was on the news today. And like, he's affecting styles that are not relevant and up to date. So the idea of keeping people appraised doesn't really work if you're not, moving on with them. But also he's got cameras all over the fucking area. What does that have to do with his job? Like, oh hey, we have someone coming up the driveway. What? Why are you giving a running commentary to the practically dead? Like, I don't get why he's there. I think the character interactions with Peri are fantastic. I would have loved to have seen more of them. But I would rather they just didn't have the character.
Yeah.
At all. Because
it's a weird...
he makes no sense as a character.
Yeah. Like...
And, like, in a story that's effectively about Davros either turning corpses into Daleks or into food, he's just massively out of place. And he really took me out of it. Every time he popped up on screen, until Peri was introduced to him, I was like, oh, fuck off. Like,
and like, what's really weird is that like there is a AI in the complex, because when Takis goes to ask about, like, he's checking on the progress of the Scarrow Daleks ship, and that computer with the really kind of overtly sexual voice, yes, Mr. Takis. like, why don't they have that doing the news reports? And
I don't get it.
Yeah.
So while I wanted to see more of the DJ with Peri, and I wanted less of the DJ in general. Also, it's a small nitpick. It's just something that, like, it twigged me every single time. Say DJ.
DJ.
Say it the way they say it in the story.
I can't remember.
It's like DJ or something.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the way my mom says the word calendar.
Calendar.
Calendar. I'm like, what are you doing? And at first, I thought it was just one person saying it that way, because maybe they didn't know how the word DJ, how DJ was pronounced.
Well,
but no, Peri and the Doctor say it that way as well. Like,
look, we can't really say much. We live in a county where 20 minutes apart, people say the word Ireland differently.
True. But it's 2 letters.
Just come out with the one sound. Dij.
It's 2 letters. And it literally, every time someone said it, like, I'm sorry about the DJ, I'm like, oh my god. Like you're trying to be a supportive Doctor, you're trying to, like, empathize with Peri, and, the fact that, like, she was friendly with this guy and she really liked him, and da. But then you pronounce it that way, and I'm like, oh, fucking hell.
I just, like, the weird thought came into my head there, because you might have seen, like, the robot with the sexy voice. I was it may be inappropriate to have that voice talking to all the people suspended animation, and all my head was just saying was that, well, they're not going to get any stiffer. So
cool. Shall we move on?
Yes. Now, who do you want to do? Do you want to do Cara or Orsini and Bostock?
Let's do Orsini and Bostock, and then we can do Cara.
Okay.
Last.
So we'll do them. Well, yeah, we'll do them as a pair, the same way we're going to do with Jobel and Tassenbecker, because, like, Orsini is the primary character of the two, but Bostock is there, like, is engaging with them, so they kind of come as a package pair. I really enjoyed them, and what I really enjoyed about them the most was that they are, as you say, they're kind of based on Don Quixote and Sancho Panza, except for the fact that Orsini's actually competent and knows what he's doing. It's not just some old man on a delusion. I had that book. I'm actually looking forward to reading it. But anyway, they did a really good job of portraying the whole, like, he's an aging knight errant that's kind of like on the outer from his order. He's looking for one last grasp at glory. And you have this like loyal squire that doesn't put up with his like crazy ideas or anything like that. Like, Bostock is incredibly loyal to him, and like they are a package pair. And that's really evident in Bostock kind of when Cara tries to downplay like the whole worry about stuff and going, oh, your squire is like kind of being too overprotective. And of course he's going, well, like the last time I didn't listen to him, I lost a leg. So, and he does seem to have a sixth sense about things, which is great. And their attack on Davros and their in syncness was brilliant as well. I think the part at the end is heartbreaking because Orsini, like the first thing he does, like after like pretty much like, he decides that he's going to blow himself up to take up the complex, is he takes Bostock's body and he just cradles it and he's rubbing his head and everything, and it's like my long and faithful companion, we're going together type of thing. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed his interactions with the Doctor. It's very like the Doctor knows the Knights of Oberon, and he obviously would have heard of Orsini a small bit, so he's very respectful for that. And he tries to, like, he understands Orsini's pain, and it's like in a franchise that hasn't really showcased like chivalry or knights beyond the classic era. It's actually kind of a cool thing to bring in, and I like the fact that it was done respectfully and not treating them as a pair of bungling fools.
Yeah, because I'll be honest, I did think when they were first introduced, given the way Bostock presented himself and the way they speak and carry themselves, whatever, I did think it was going to be very Don Quixote.
Yeah.
And very sort of, everyone thinks they're amazing, but actually they're fumbling through and stuff like this. Or the Cara bought the cheapest assassin she could find.
Yeah.
And so I was really glad that even though like Bostock is really the brains of the operation, which I quite liked.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that Orsini never speaks down to him. They are a duo.
Yeah.
And both are equal in their thoughts and in their beliefs and in their considerations. They listen to each other. They trust each other. Like Bostock sort of makes fun of him over his weapon and is like, "You stop using that gun, it's shit. Like, I've told you a million times." And Orsini's like, "Oh, like no, but like it's like a sword or a lance, or whatever he said." So I love the fact that they are very old-fashioned knight and squire, but the sort of knight and squire that you want to see, not like knight and squire in... They're kind of like a weird version of like Tyrion and Pod, like that good knight and squire dynamic.
Yeah.
Rather than any other knight and squire I can think of, to be honest, in my mind. Like literally every other knight and squire I can think of, the squire is treated like crap.
Well,
or the knight is a moron and the squire is the one who's actually doing everything.
Okay.
I love the fact as well that like Orsini's an assassin. This is what they do. There's a whole order. They're part of a guild or whatever. But I like the fact that they also are like, you want us to kill Daleks? Yes. A million times. Forget everything else we talked about. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Just yes. And the fact they're both so dedicated to that, I really, really liked. I love the fact that Orsini has absolutely zero care for Cara and stuff once he realizes that she was going to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think in his mind, she was going to kill Bostock, and he's like, "Fuck you, bitch."
Yeah.
Like, Bostock knew something was weird about you, and now we know what it was. But yeah, I think their whole dynamic is very good. I loved Orsini's dynamic with the Doctor. I think I saw a couple of quotes online, people saying that like they thought that Orsini kind of overshadowed the Doctor a bit in the story because he's like potentially in more of it. But I liked the dynamic that they had. I love the ending. Of Orsini basically being like, okay, stop faffing and just leave because like I'm not going with you, and let's just get that over with. The only thing I found slightly irritating is it was very sweet the way he cradled Bostock and stuff. The two of them to the end, whatever. I did find him stroking his hair. I'm like, he's not a fucking pet. Like, it's very sweet, but also part of me was like, okay, respect the man, respect what you did together. You're now treating him like a teddy bear. But let's just tone it back just a smidge. Tone it back a smidge. I'd love to know like how they fell out of favor with the Order, because like, even Davros recognizes the Order. He recognizes the pin and is kind of like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Need to be super intelligent, Davros, now, because like this could actually go badly for me.
So the way that I kind of read it was that like the Knights Old Runner essentially are kind of like they are kind of like the Jedi a bit. But from what I gathered, Orsini loved the thrill of the hunt to the extent of like going, no, we're meant to be guardians. We're not meant to be thugs, brutes, or assassins. But Orsini loved the hunt. So I think that's why he fell out of favor. But I think his whole thing of like, this would be the greatest hunt ever, so it would justify me to the Order and all that type of stuff. Just what you were saying about the best squire and knight thing ever, all I could think of was like Sir Lancelot and Concord from the Holy Grail. You shall not have been mortally wounded in vain. Oh no, I'm perfectly fine. Well, don't worry, Concord. But yeah, like I think, and I can see where people would say like, did he overshadow the Doctor? Like, it's not hard when he actually has more screen time than the fucking Doctor. But I think when they were together, they worked really well. Yeah.
Cool. And then lastly, in our prominent characters, we have Cara. Or Miss Minchin, as I would forever know her.
I've got to stop trusting that woman. I really do. I like everything I see her and I give her the benefit of the doubt, going, oh, she can't be that. No, she is. She's always the fucking villain. She's either the villain or a nag or a pin in the hole or whatever the fuck word you want to use. So
you gave her the benefit of the doubt in Little Princess?
No. Like I that was the first thing I ever saw her in, and I was like going, oh, she's clearly the villain of this piece. But I was going, but like I can't like pigeonhole actor. Like they're not like not everyone is Christopher Lee. Like so, like not everyone just seems to play a villain bar that one fucking movie I saw them in. But yeah, so like no, she's the villain in this thing. But I'll tell you one thing. Good acting, not to give away anything about it. The fact that I was kind of going, oh wait, no, yeah, pretty much. It isn't until like she kind of goes, I'm going to go bad with power and feed people. Although I'm not sure if she knew that Soylent Green was people. I don't know, but
I don't think she did.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but so like rather than just being like a monster, she's just a good old fashioned uber capitalist. So whatever. But it was nice to see this scheming executive archetype, but with a feminine twist, because you could tell like she was trying to turn on the charm to throw Davros off the scent, to trick Orsini and Bostock into, oh, don't worry, it will tell my brain to spring into action. So yeah, like it was like, I think of all the side characters that like, so like of everyone that we mentioned in the trivia and that isn't Davros or stuck in whatever, I think she's probably the best done out of them, because she does have limited screen time, but she actually has the criteria which we kind of have now, which is story impact, and she does, because in the end, she's the one that helps facilitate the destruction of the thing by giving Orsini that bomb. So yeah, I don't have a huge lot to say about her other than the fact that I think it's nice to see a feminine twist on the scheming executive archetype. I don't think we've seen it in a while. Kind of reminds me about a bit of the Space Pirates, but again, less said about that, the better. But yeah, kind of reminds me of that character. And this is, I think, one of the problems we're seeing with the 45-minute format in this era is that people are written in and they're either given nothing to do or they're really overplayed, but it amounts to nothing. And I think she's the former. I think she's kind of really given nothing to do.
Yeah. Like, I mean, the best thing about her is Eleanor Braun's performance is amazing. She's so good. She's fantastic.
Yeah.
In this role. The thing is that, like, at her core, though, Kara is a plot catalyst.
Yeah.
She doesn't really get much development herself as a character. She's there to give the knight his mission. Send him on his quest. It's kind of perfect.
Yeah.
That's kind of her main function. In terms of does she know Soylent Green's people, I don't know, because her main issue with Davros seems to be that he wants more and more of her money. And she's like, fuck her, go away. And I think if he didn't ask her for so much money, she probably wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah,
should it be? Also, she is like one of these examples of, a powerful woman and her gay best friend.
Yeah.
Because the dynamic between her and her assistant is very gay best friend vibes.
Yeah.
I think ultimately she's not explored enough. I think you could have gotten rid of half the other characters and explored her in a lot more detail. Like, we don't really get to see her interact with anyone other than Davros and Orsinian Bostock, and I think that's to her detriment as a character, because I think she could have been really interesting. Like, I would have loved to have seen her interacting with the DJ. Like, how did their lives overlap? Do you know? Because again, like, going back, he looks like he's in some sort of weird, like, purgatory prison fucking thing.
Yeah.
And so I would have liked to have seen more from her, because what we did see was very good.
Yes.
And the performance was very good. But I agree with you, in a story that already had too many characters, she's not given enough to do.
Yeah. No, there's a very simple solution to the Kara problem, and it's the perfect segue into the villain piece, which is to get rid of these two fuckers from the story, Jobel and Tattenbacker.
Yes.
I like Clive Swift. I really do. I love him keeping up appearances, and I'll tell you one thing, I much prefer him in his appearance in Voyage of the Damned than with this. I was watching this going, where's this leading? It's leading to fucking nothing, because in the end, Tassenbecker gets killed by the Daleks. So it's pointless. Like, also, it's really weird seeing Clive play like a slime ball. It's like, he's meant to be mild-mannered Richard Bucket. Like, they don't do anything to advance the plot. Like, there was one element in it where he's talking to Takis and Lilt. And it's like going, you better be careful. And it's going, oh, we're actually getting somewhere with him. And then it's, no, I'm going to hit on all my fucking interns and going to incel bash Tassenbach or whatever the whole fucking thing is. Like, get rid of them and put Kara as the head of the facility. Like, she doesn't need to be she can just be the director of the funeral place, but it's also the food tree. She could be like that guy from Gaze Avengers Annie. Like, she's the all-powerful plutocrat on the planet. And then you give her the more screen time. Then you have her interacting with the DJ. Then you have her interacting more with Davros or confronting the doctor or whatever the case is. Because, yeah, these two, like, I brought them in so I could give out about them. Essentially.
I did wonder why specifically you brought them in. Like, the issue with the two of them is that they're too plonked in characters that so far and don't really progress the plot in any great way. It's because we needed to be able to see Davros more, and Kara was off doing something else. I think what's interesting about Jobel, there was one point where I thought, oh my god, is Jobel more self-aware and clued in than we think? Which is at one point, he sort of says to her, look, come on. I don't see you like that. Like, you're spending too much time in here. You need to get out more and meet other people. Whatever. And for a second I thought, like, oh, are we seeing the facade dropping? And him really being like, I'm not good for you. Stop fucking following me because this isn't good for you. But no, it's just him basically calling her pathetic.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, she is.
Yeah.
She totally is. This man is a horrible, egotistic, misogynistic creep. And she's like, I love you. And it's like, why? Like, what is it about him? And then, like, she's so cruel in her own way.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, Davros kind of, like, I think if Davros didn't ask her to kill Jobel, she would have stayed with Davros absolutely no problem whatsoever.
Yeah.
As Davros was fucked up there by doing that.
Yeah.
But, like...
Or you could have had Jobel killed because you have human guards. So you could have had Jobel killed by one of them and framed it on the Doctor, and then that's when she becomes fucking, fatal attraction type thing. You took him from me, that type of thing. Like ugh.
Nothing about these two makes sense. I don't get why they're there. At first I thought that Jobel was in cahoots with Davros, but I don't think he is.
No.
I think he knows Davros is there, but he doesn't really care.
Yeah.
And if anything, he's just sort of getting Davros's way, and Tassenbecker is just pathetic. Like, you wouldn't even call her tragic.
No.
She's
absolutely not tragic at all, because she takes out her frustration and aggression with him on other people that don't deserve it. And, like, she just comes across like a petulant child. And, so it's... Like, I think it is absolutely... And I can see where people would buy into it, that it's absolutely on brand. Like, Eric Saward would be petty enough that I don't like Colin Baker as the Doctor, so I'm going to introduce two pointless characters in a nonsensical plot element when I could have just as easily written them properly into the narrative structure. But no.
Like, if you think about it, in a weird sort of mirror universe kind of way, Jobel and Tassenbecker are kind of they're kind of a play on, or why is the word not coming to my brain? A caricature of the Doctor and companion relationship.
Yeah.
Like, you could easily see this on a skit show.
Yeah. Oh, Doctor, you're so brilliant. I love you.
Dress Jobel in a fucking pinstripe suit, and you're one in a fucking blonde wig and a pink zip-up top.
Mm-hmm.
And it easily works as parody.
Yeah.
That was the word I was looking for. It's parody.
And caricature works just as well.
Which... No.
Yeah.
Like... Just no.
No.
It's not needed.
No.
Eric, get off the...
Yeah.
You fuck off, Eric.
Pretty much. But thankfully, she takes him out, and then she is in turn taken out by the heroes of this aspect of the story, which is the Daleks. Who would have thought I'd be saying those words? No, the Daleks themselves, very little to talk about. But what I do like is that they have managed to keep the continuity going of the Davros is a wanted criminal by the Daleks. because they're like, and I love the fact that they're classic grey and his guys are meant to be like new pristine white, and I think it's very easy to tell them apart that way, but it also speaks to Davros's ego, or it speaks to his whole thing, but when they come in, I don't know if you saw it the way that I did or whatever, but I was going, they actually feel like characters, the Scarrow Daleks. They actually feel like going, oh, I can actually see them. It's almost like I'm watching Genesis and I can see the Khaled officers in their uniforms. That's like, I was like going, like, so fucking whatever good, so the direction and the operation of the Daleks in that one, I think that was really good. But I always think it's great that there's this whole thing of Davros created what he viewed to be the ultimate killing machine and the ultimate genetic perfection side of things, but they're experiments. And when he tries to improve upon that, they view themselves as already perfect. So anything that he does then is an aberration to their perfect genetic. So it's amazing thing that a race that's founded on genetic manipulation use any further genetic manipulation as an aberration. So like, I just think it's fascinating, and it's like very small, very short aspect of the story. But I like that. I'll definitely give credit to Eric for that aspect of it. Well, so, small hand clap.
I think for me, what I liked about the Daleks in this one, other than, yes, I agree with you, color differences are helpful for things that don't have any recognizable feature because they are identical. And I do agree that the Scarrow Daleks are very much characters, not just filler, and not just taking up space. I think one of the things I liked about the Daleks the most in this story is actually just the concept of what it is Davros is doing. Because, skipping the timeline here a bit, there's a thing in New Who around Daleks and how one turns someone into a Dalek. And I didn't know this story existed. Had I known this story existed, in all the times I've given out about that other story or set of stories, because it happened more than once if I remember correctly, I would have cited this. The Dalek is the little fucking
thingy
squid thing. The machine around it is a transport machine.
Yeah.
It's a wheelchair, effectively.
Yeah.
Which is why Davros' wheelchair, with the big thumb, fuck you finger on the back of it, is so similar. I love the fact that what Davros is trying to do here is create new Daleks in the same way he created the originals. It is genetic mutation of a humanoid form into a thing. And not whatever those fuckers in New Who thought they were doing when they did that. So for me, like, I was watching this and I was like, oh, he's turning us into Daleks. And I was like, oh my god. Like, immediately they go into the case, but it's clearly the organic material is what's being changed. That I really liked because I hate the future thing so much.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. You and I have discussed this umpteen times before. I didn't know this story existed when we talked about it before. I do now, and it actually makes me even madder.
Yeah.
At what came before. In terms of Davros himself, I mean, it is Davros being Davros. But there's one thing that I thought was brilliant in this, because it had me going right up until the moment it was revealed. The fake head in the jar.
Yeah. Like, moving on to Davros now, like, fucking hats off to Terry for making a fucking head feel imposing. like that was done brilliantly. And like, this is his second time as Davros. He's he stepped into the role perfectly since Michael did it. Absolutely.
Also, is it just me, or is the facial prosthetic better in this one than it was in the last one? It fits him better.
It's the same. Like, I think it's a bit more refined because, like, obviously in Destiny of the Daleks, they were putting the old prosthetic onto someone new, so it didn't match up properly, and it looked like a Halloween mask. In the last one, it did look very bad latex. Here, it actually feels. Oh wait, no, it does look real. So
yeah, I mean the eye thing is still funny
Yeah,
and
no.
awkward and whatever, but like other than that,
but I think it speaks to Davros's charisma as a person, like just as Davros, that he's able to get people in line for the most part, even when he's just a head in a jar, but he's able to build up this persona of himself as the great healer. But actually, I'll talk more about that in a moment. But he's able to build up this persona for himself where he tricks people and he coerces people and he manipulates people. And he's just so, like, when he speaks softly to Tassenbecker, it's like, Jesus, like he's actually kind of convincing you that he cares about her or small bit. And like when his real, like, it's just the way that he just sounds so like gentle. But when his real self comes out, like it's, like in the wheelchair, and he has those really good interactions with the doctor. And it's great to see him, like Genesis, like he's a step ahead, just like a half a step to a full step ahead most times. And it's his own superiority complex that gets him, because he doesn't account for Bostock waking up, and Bostock blows his hand off. Like he doesn't account for like these small little fucking things because he views them as less than. They come back to bite him in the ass, and that's the one thing that continually comes back to about Davros, is that every time he thinks he's got it figured out, he views something different because again he buys into his own superior intellect. So I think it was a good performance from from Terry as Davros, and it was a good showing for Davros. He was the really good villain for the piece.
I agree. I think in terms of recent Davros performances and stories, I probably like this one the most. Pretty much since Genesis, I think, for me.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about this one that felt very Davros, in a very similar way to, again, jumping the timeline, Julian Bleach felt Davros. And I can see Genesis to this, to that, very, very easily.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really good. The one thing I didn't know, and maybe it's got my previous story and I've forgotten, I don't have, I didn't realize he had like force lightning from his head thing.
Yeah, that I forgot about that, and it was like, because I think, what does he have it? I can't remember if he has it in New Who or not. But yeah, he's like kind of upgraded his like mobile defense platform that is his wheelchair. So yeah. But
I also just can't get away from the giant fuck you.
Yeah, I like the fact that it's just there taunting you is fantastic. I think, especially when he does he's such a dismissive line to the doctor, and then he just turns around and it's like the exclamation mark to the statement. He's just going, "Ah, I've beaten you again, you fool! Just turn around, fuck off." Oh God, do you have anything else to say about the man?
No, I think for me, I think this is the best Davros we've seen since Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I do have something else to say. Just going back to what you were saying about the way he's Tassenbecker. I think in some ways, this Davros is actually better because he's not just a psychotic megalomaniac.
Mm-hmm.
You see his intelligence, because the thing is that Davros, despite creating the ultimate killing machine that has no emotions, is still humanoid.
Yeah.
He's still a Khaled, so he can still, if he so chooses, empathize or feign empathy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but you can also tell, like, much like you and I, he's looking at Tassenbecker and looking at Jobel and being like, why? Dude, I'll give you whatever you want. Yeah. Just like, you're great. Like, he seems to really like her. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? He's like, you're great. You'd be a great lieutenant and whatever. But like this thing that you have, let's just fix this, right? And then you come work for me, and I might keep you as a human for a while because hands and legs are handy from time to time. But then I'll make you a Dalek, and you'll be perfect, and it'll be great for you. it'd be great for you because this is bad for you.
Okay.
And I was like, for a second there, like he became like a sort of relationship advisor.
But and that was the thing, was that like you actually made a very good point, because if I'm remembering back to our conversation about Genesis so long ago, in the softer moments where Davros is speaking, it's like when you see a spider in your room and you're like going, like, you know, I know that you're minding your own business, but everything about you is just putting me on edge. And that's when Davros is at his softer moments. And it's like, okay, you know, like I'm paying attention to you, but it's very, whereas here it's like our sort of, oh, look at you, you're so cute. Come here, come here. Oh wait, fuck no, get back, get back. So yeah, no, like, I think, yeah, I think Terry has done a really good job of taking up the mantle. And I look, I don't want to fucking bash him because we've moved past him, but I think having a better, for me personally, a better doctor to work off of,
It helps.
it helps. Because I said, like, I didn't buy their confrontation the last time around. This is, yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
What is it about the bakers and just with the regard? Oh,
All we know is Colin to go up against a Centauran, and we're like a proper Centauran,
yeah.
not a fake Centauran, a proper Centauran.
Not like Kareem Abdul John Jabbar Santaran. That's like fucking 7 foot tall. Fuck's sake.
You know, proper
Yeah.
Centauran.
Oh God. So we have reached the overall for, it's really kind of weird to say it's like the end of the first season, or it's the end of Colin's first proper season, and we're going to be going into his last season soon. So very strange. But what isn't strange is our overall section, which is where myself and Trish each give the story a score of 5. As I do the socials, I go first. So, Daleks Ex Machina. That's that's what it was, because they fucking, like, there's no allusion to them as like the fucking help coming in, and it's like, oh, here they are to save the day. Never thought I'd fucking be happy to see them save the day, but by God, they saved the day. So, like the last episode, it takes an awful long time for the Doctor to actually get involved with things. And even then, his impact on the story itself only happens in the last 20 minutes. Like, because he arrives, he has his banter back and forth with, you know, Jobel and Tassenbecker. He gets thrown in jail, gets freed, wanders corridors, and then finally confronts Davros. And then it's like, okay, cool, he's actually contributing. And like, the worst thing is, right, is that for me, like, Colin's performances have consistently been great. Like, if it was said, like, if this was to be a rambling, if the rambling was basically his performances, it would be fucking tough. And like, again, like, the fact that the lack of screen time is a massive disservice to him, because we don't get to see him really play off every aspect of the Doctor, which is, and we don't get to see Peri driving that plot forward as well. Like, she's very passive in this, which is, again, fucking annoying, because we know what she's capable of, and we know how interesting she can be. I think Arsenio Bostock were one of, if not the highlight of the story, because their characterization, their impact, their back and forth, everything about them was great. And as we said, it could have been very easily played for parody. But no, it was done really, really well. I'm very happy with it. But there's a lot of stuff that brings the story down. And there's so much waste in it. Kara, very interesting potential character. Completely sidelined because we have this weird, unrequited fatal attraction bullshit going on with Jobel and Tassenbecker. It added nothing. Like, it didn't. Like, they were written in such a way that they couldn't actually contribute to the story at all, and they just utilized all their screen time for nothing. Because no one really reacts. Like, she stabs Jobel in front of people, and no one reacts. So yeah, so much waste. And I know that like there are times where lots of characters are brought in to help flesh out the story or give more breadth to the world or whatever it is. Like, so no, they didn't. Like, yes, okay, everyone wears blue and works in a funeral home. And we have a really weird DJ, played by Alexi Sale, who is just having so much fun being Alexi Sale in Doctor Who. So I was kind of struggling back and forth with the score. I was like, the stuff in it that I really like, because it's a joy to see Colin and Peri get some bit of a showcase for like their characters. And so I ended up giving it a 2, because I didn't want to rate it lower than a 2, but I don't think it warranted being split perfectly down the middle because it's such a lopsided story.
I said we'll see what that does to your overall score in a second, but I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Too. I didn't enjoy it really. Some of the acting performances were very, very good. I just didn't like it. When I finished watching it, I gave it a 1 in my head.
Mhm.
And a lot of that is because there are too many fucking characters. So, if you think about it, right? So you've the Doctor and Peri, that's 2. You have Davros, 3. Okay. So those 3 you kind of have to have in order for the story to make any sort of sense. Then we have the DJ, Kara, her gay boyfriend, Orsini, Bostock, Jobel, Tassenbecker, Natasha, Grigory, Takis, and the other guy.
Lilt.
Right? That's 14 fucking people to keep track of. Because I was watching it and I was like, he has Takis on the trivia list. Why the fuck? What's Takis going to do?
Yeah.
Like, other than call the Dalek brigade, like, because Takis was an asshole at the start.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, like, is he going to be the bad guy? Is he going to be... No. Just no. He calls the Daleks and he's very dedicated to getting Peri to safety. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all he does. There's 14 fucking characters. Cut half of them, including the DJ. Or give him a different job.
But see, if you cut all those characters, then that means you're forced to give Colin more screen time.
And that's my problem. I want to watch Doctor Who with the Doctor in it. It's different in the past when we had Doctor Light episodes, like when when Bill Hartnell was on holidays or whatever, because we had a 3-person TARDIS team that could hold the story on their own. Peri can't hold the story on her own because she's a single companion. It doesn't work in a single companion thing. There's very few places where it does work, which is why in New Who, the Doctor Light episodes, the companion isn't really in it either.
Yeah.
It's just tertiary characters having a story. Blink being the prime example of that.
Yeah.
However, through our discussion, there were things I did like, and there were things that I wanted to see more of. I liked the way the Daleks were done. I liked Davros. I liked Orsini and Bostock. I liked the dynamic that came out between the DJ and Peri. I liked the Doctor. I liked Peri on her own. I liked all of that. So I also gave it a 2. Will I ever watch it again? Probably not. Do I think people could enjoy it? Yeah, I'm sure some people... You really like the DJ character the whole way through. I'm sure some people would love it. Is it the best Doctor Who ever written? No. Am I glad Eric isn't writing anymore?
Yeah.
Yes. Do I wish he also wasn't script editing anymore? Yes. And I can't wait for season 23 to be over so we don't have him in script editor anymore.
Yeah.
I wish we could get rid of JNT and his notions, but we won't.
No.
So, not much we can do with that.
Unfortunately, we're stuck with him now till the end of the run.
Yeah. So to give you an idea what this score did to our overall ranking of this season. So again, just to give a some context, because we're horrible people, we'll start with... when did it start going? Okay, whatever. Let's start with the last 2 seasons of Tom, just to give it some context. So, season 17, our combined average was 2.67.
Okay.
Season 18, which is Legopolis and State of Decay and all that kind of stuff, Cooper Dragon, 2.93. Then we get into Peter Davison. Season 19, average 2.54. Season 20, average 2.77. Season 21, average 2.91. We're now at the end of season 22. And Paddy, I'm glad to say, we're back up in the 3s at least.
Yay!
You, by the skin of your teeth, was a 3.04 average. My average is 3.17. Overall, this season has an average score of 3.10. I am glad we were back up in the 3s. It's been a long time since we've been here. Season 16 was a long, long time ago. But we are back. And I think, to close out this season, but Colin's first full season, and given that we both didn't think very highly of this story, I think the fact that the season as a whole still has a 3.1 goes to, in my mind, you can disagree, the strength of Colin.
Oh, yeah.
As the Doctor.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Because that really carries so much. I think, had we put Colin into some of Peter's stories, no offense, Peter, I think we would probably rank them higher.
No, absolutely. I had said prior to this that, I always liked Colin's Doctor because I thought he was very misunderstood. And, I liked his performance. Now, after going back with a more critical view, I really like his Doctor. He's... I know that we've got 4 more episodes to go. We'll talk about that there in a second. So there's a good chance they could torpedo it. But at the moment, he's... out of the 6 of them, he's... I think I'd go possibly number 4. Maybe we'll do the proper ranking once we do his rambling. But speaking of next time, so
yes,
we're going into Trial of a Time Lord, which is made up of 4 distinct stories. So how we're going to do it is we're going to do each story as an individual with its own individual scoring, and then we will have a separate scoring for the Trial of a Time Lord as a whole. Because it is
and we will see if the score we give it separately matches up with the average of the 4 episodes individually.
Yep. Pretty much.
Because data.
Yes. Wrong franchise. But so yeah. Until next time, guys, where we will have the first part of Trial of a Time Lord, which is the mysterious planet.
Ooh. Curious. Okay then. Till next time.
Till then, bye.
Bye.